Hi, I'm Robin Tyler-Hickey. I'm the owner of Rebalance Pilates, and today we're going to continue our exploration of gentle stretching and strengthening of the affected arm post-breast cancer surgery. So as always, these exercises are fairly general in nature. Please make sure that you are consulting with your doctor, your physio, and your educated breast cancer exercise specialist to make sure that you are following a plan that is specific to the surgery that you've had and your specific needs. Today, we are coming to the floor. So working on the floor and working on the mat is going to provide us with the largest amount of stretch and the largest range of movement that we have looked at so far in these videos. Please make sure that you have followed along with the exercises in the first two videos to make sure that the tissue is properly mobilized and warmed up for this work. I'm going to tip you down toward the mat. And we're going to get going. Hello, welcome to the floor. For the first couple of exercises, I'm going to have a pillow nearby. So working with a pillow or a rolled up towel is really good for the first time that you're hitting the floor because it will just limit your range of movement a little bit. Going from here where my arm is still on an angle is a little less aggressive than coming all the way down to the floor, which is a pretty significant stretch. So if it's the first time that you're hitting the floor and doing these exercises, having a pillow or a rolled up mat is really, really helpful. We're going to start with an exercise called open elbows. So little Barbie arm with the arm here. I'm going to bring the arm up so that way my humerus is just nice and heavy in the shoulder joint. My elbow is tipped up to the ceiling and I have this little 90 degree with my arm. Taking a breath in and exhaling out. And I find the pillow. Taking a breath in and exhaling, bringing the arm back. So again, I'm just starting to work through the tissue, a little bit of, I can feel a bit of a pec stretch, then pec engagement, a little bit of work around the shoulder blade, just gentle. And just working through a couple planes of movement. From here, I can go into a little rotator cuff. So bringing my arm up so I have like a little goalpost arm, I'm going to tip my arm forward, letting the forearm fall toward the floor, but only so far that I'm not starting to lift the shoulder up in my internal rotation, and then coming back up to 90, and then letting the arm fall back into external rotation. Again, I don't want to go so far that I start to pick my rib and shoulder blade up off of the mat. So I'm working in a small range of movement, but I am working through that rotator cuff because I want to strengthen the whole shoulder joint. And then when you feel like having the pillow there is no longer necessary, you can do all of this again, just nice and easy, working through. I'm moving quite quickly. For time reasons, but you would move quite slowly through this so that way you can really feel what your tissue is doing and you can do your open elbows from here as well. And that's a pretty big stretch to come all the way down to the floor with that open elbow and back. So now that we've warmed up the rotator cuff, we've sort of gotten all of the tissue ready to go, we're going to start to go past 90 degrees. So the palm is down. I have the floor for feedback and support. I'm going to start to slide the arm up. When I get to 90 degrees, you can't see this because it gets cut off in the video, but I am turning my palm up to the ceiling, and you will have seen a bit of rotation happen, especially through the elbow. Continuing past 90, already I can start to feel a pretty big stretch through the arm, into my armpit, and a little bit into my rib cage. It's a lot. It's a nice big stretch. And then coming back down, I'm going to think of drawing the humerus into the armpit, like a little suction cup. Coming back down, when I get to 90, I'm going to turn the palm to face the floor and continue all the way back. Now, it's a huge stretch. You can have a pillow or a towel underneath, which is going to lift the arm up a bit and make that stretch still pretty significant, but just not quite as great as if it were on the floor. As always, when you get to a point where it feels like the tissue is freaking out a little bit because it hasn't gone to this range before, and it starts to get really tight and pulling, we don't want to work in pain. But if the tissue is starting to kind of have a moment, take some of those breaths, deep breaths into the tissue. And when that tissue has been massaged by the breath and is no longer freaking out, then it may be open to go a little bit deeper into the stretch or return back to your starting position. And that little bit of extra range of movement is for another day. The last exercise that we're going to look at is called an arm scissor. So the arm is up, fingers are facing the ceiling. Now, for this, again, it is a pretty big stretch through the tissue, and it will be a big stretch through most incision sites. So what I like to do for clients is, and you can do this with your unaffected arm, is I place it on their forearm for support as they do this. So they're leading the way. I just have my arm there for support, and I slowly kind of move my arm up toward their wrist as they go for the big stretch. And then you have a couple of options coming back. If you don't quite have the strength to draw the arm up using the muscles of the shoulder blade, then let the supporting arm do the work. So I'm going to let my affected arm feel pretty heavy here, and I'm doing all of the work by pushing my supporting arm into the forearm. When you start to strengthen and you've got more ability to bring the arm up, then I just place 2 fingers onto the forearm, and I'm doing most of the work through my affected arm, but I'm keeping a little bit of support here just to let my arm know that I got you covered. So again, huge range of movement. If you have had a double mastectomy or a reconstruction on both breasts, I would recommend doing this sitting against the wall first, if it's the first time that you're going into this movement. It's a little less aggressive in the amount of stretch than if you were on the floor. Once you feel really comfortable with that, then come and try it on the floor. So again, those are 2 or 3 exercises to continue building on getting more stretch, more range of movement, and building that gentle activation through the muscles as we start to strengthen. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again soon.